Good morning, and welcome to this virtual gathering of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. My name is Suzanne Short, and I am pleased and privileged to be serving this community on its board of directors. Thank you for taking the time to honor our connections in the ways that we have available until we can all safely meet again in person. If you are a visitor here today, we are so glad that you found us. We welcome you and thank you for spending time with us, and hope you will return again soon. Our church was begun in 1833 as a liberal Christian community. We are now a community of many faith journeys and beliefs, guided not by a creed, but by a covenant to uphold shared principles marked by love, respect, and justice. Our faith community continues to work together to put our UU principles and values into action, to build beloved community and serve the purpose of justice for all here in the Richmond community. We welcome you to live these principles with us as you continue on your spiritual journey. We welcome you with all of your diverse identities as a whole, multifaceted, and beloved person. If you are a visitor here today or new to Unitarian Universalism and would like to learn more about our faith and our community, we invite you to check out our website, join our Facebook group, or reach out to us by email at membership@richmonduu.org. As a reminder, please don't hesitate to reach out to our staff or our care committee if you are in need. We hope you will consider joining us at our virtual coffee hour, which begins 5 to 10 minutes after the end of the service. You can reach this coffee hour through a separate Zoom link available in Saturday's email and on our Facebook site. Coffee hour provides a time for us to connect with our fellow church members, and if you are new to First UU, an opportunity for us to get to know you better and you to get to know us. I would also like to encourage church members and visitors to tune in 5 to 10 minutes early before each Sunday service to look at the scrolling messages, the scrolling announcements. This is a good way to stay informed about things that are happening and things that are important in our church community. Again, welcome to this joyful Sunday, made sacred by all of us being together, worshiping, and sharing our time with each other.
Good morning. Welcome to my backyard where I thought you'd enjoy a view of what is flowering. Even though it's a bit gray, there's a lot of birdsong. Whatever brought you here this morning, whatever hope you have for this time, I hope it's fulfilled. I hope you can sense the presence of the other people who are on this surface electronically, and take a moment just to receive that presence, to see yourself in the middle of a community. This is a difficult week because I don't know what we'll know by Sunday or sometime next week. But decisions are being made by jurors. Decisions are being made by police. Decisions are being made by people in their custody. And all of these things are the dynamics of power, which we need to examine as Unitarian Universalists. Who is using power, ours and others? How is it being used? What are our expectations for that use? And what are our values at work here? What options do we have? So I invite us all to a time of worship where I light this chalice in a meditation of all that we have brought here to kindle it, of everything that allows it to take flame, and also the illumination we reflect back into the world. Welcome to a time of worship.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives.
Let us hear the words of Howard Thurman. Emergence from below. Within a world unbeknownst to me, awakened a profound awareness that lay dormant within me. Beneath the surface, emergence withdrew. Instincts invited me to pursue and plunge beneath the surface to discover a world I never knew. Home. Nature is speaking to you, a world you cannot fully comprehend. Explore what's beneath the surface in you, beyond you, deep within you, the world that inhabits you, speaks to you, and longs to commune with you. An other world, governed by a different set of rules, laws, and circumstances, beyond, between, and among your rational world. Emergence. Do the reversal. Emerge within and stay for a while. Good morning. Margaret, I'm afraid I'm not able to show my video. You'll need to enable it. But good morning, friends. It's so wonderful to be here with you, and it is so hard to be here with you at the same time. Can someone please let me know if you are hearing me? Would someone just tell me that you are inside of the chat? Thank you so much. You know, when I recorded this piece of Thurman earlier this week, it profoundly impacted me. And what was even more profound is that the piece around rational, what is rational? And when I think about what then is rational, I think about what Manning Marable talks about, that oftentimes we're in a world that makes rational the irrational. And so as we begin to think about, you know, what is coming up this week, as Reverend Jean said in her opening comments, when we think about what may happen with the decisions of the Chauvin trial, I can't help but think of Eugene Robinson's comment in an earlier comment when he said he is even afraid to hope again. And I wanted to be able to join you all this morning to really have us focus in our meditation on what is at stake, because we often want to have a rational conversation about that which is irrational. And one of the things that is irrational is the fact that we oftentimes see these levels of brutality and the resulting conversation around what should or should not happen from a rational perspective. And we often fail to really see who is being impacted. And so I would like to share a short video with you so that we can refocus our attention on what is really at stake, and hopefully begin to understand that if we are being drawn into a conversation that is irrational, that we understand that what is really at stake should be at the heart of our conversation, not the systems and structures of power that would have us believe that the death of another human being is somehow justified. And so I will play this short video and let us just focus our meditation upon that.
We actually have a line that we do at our house. We practice this thing. What is it?
I'm Ariel Sky Williams. I'm 8 years old. I'm unarmed and I have nothing that will hurt you.
We actually have a line that we do at our house. We practice this thing. What is it?
I'm Ariel Sky Williams. I'm 8 years old. I'm unarmed and I have nothing that will hurt you.
Let us enter into a time of meditation. Thank you all.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
I'm Annette Marquis. This month's Share the Plate is to support the work of the Living Legacy Project. This organization's mission is to provide experiential education about the American Civil Rights Movement that challenges, inspires, and equips people from all backgrounds for justice work in their communities and beyond. There's an urgency to this work, as many of the leaders and foot soldiers of the movement are passing on. Through your support, we can provide more opportunities for young organizers and activists to meet those who are still with us, to hear their stories firsthand, and draw inspiration and courage that will carry them forward in their own work for justice. I would like to share with you some images today from past Living Legacy pilgrimages, accompanied by the incomparable Reggie Harris, LLP's co-president and music education director. I hope that you will consider accompanying us on a future Living Legacy pilgrimage. We hope to be back on the bus by the end of this year. And that you'll support the Living Legacy Project so that even when no more veterans of the movement are still alive, their incredible stories are not lost. Thank you.
Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. Folks up there both black and white. Been down into the South. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. I don't want to go with them a civil rights. Been down into the South. We sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. I've been walking around to spread the news. Been down into the South. And now I got holes in all my shoes. Been down into the South. And we sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, if you don't think I've been through hell, been down into the South. Just follow me down to Parchment Jail. Been down into the South. And we sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Oh, I sing hallelujah, freedom. Oh, hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, the only thing that we did wrong, been down into the South, was stay in the wilderness a day too long. Been down into the South. And we sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. We sing hallelujah, freedom. Oh, hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Yeah, but the only thing that we did right, been down into the South, was on that day we took up the fight. Been down into the South. We sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. We sing hallelujah, freedom. Oh, hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. I don't want to go with number voting right. Been down into the South. And we sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. We sing hallelujah, freedom. Oh, hallelujah, freedom. freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Bend down. Oh, we sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Bend down into the sun.
You may have thought this would be an anticipated service that I would be likely to preach about Earth Day that's coming this week. I would like to do that. I would like to have been free to do that. And in fact, I'm hopeful we can do that next week, because there's so many people here who love the earth and want to be involved in healing it. But I hope you'll be patient and hear instead what I am anticipating and wanting us to think about. And I bring this up as someone who knows that there are different truths about what people are anticipating this week. And so if you will allow me, please listen with an open heart, and please think about the questions I'm asking, because I ask them of not only you, but of me, of all of us together in this community. About 1/5 of us this week are anticipating a different event than you might think. The concern is the trial of the former Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin. It's been going on for a couple weeks now, and at some point the defense is going to rest and the jurors will have the case. And the fear is that what will happen is what happens so often in these cases, that though we have this amazing video that shows a tremendous disregard for human life, an inability to see worth or dignity in another person, that there has been some practice of power over, which has resulted in the loss of a human life, and in which officers are not fired, disciplined, charged, and if charged, not found guilty. If you're a Black or Indigenous person of color in our congregation, which we refer to as BIPOC, pardon me, it's not great, but it saves a lot of oxygen. If you're one of those folks, you've got a weather eye out for this thing. And more than a weather eye, you probably have some sort of neural buzz going on, a little hum in the background. Because if once again it happens that despite that full video and the outrage, this officer who killed George Floyd is found not guilty, then whenever will anyone be found guilty? That's what they're asking themselves. And the thing that they're really wondering more immediately in their lives is, and do the rest of the folks in my religious community, in my community that aspires to be a beloved community, do they know what I'm going through? Do they understand? Do they feel what I feel? Anything like it? Do they have sympathy with me? Are they going to do anything? That's what they're wondering. Now, to think this through, just again, listen with me, because I think there are a lot of these kinds of questions. So just this week, a young lieutenant from Fort Lee, notice the name, please. Lieutenant Nazario goes through a pleasant moment. He buys a vehicle. You know, he's got second lieutenant pay. It's not much, but he can afford a vehicle. This is great. And he drives out of the dealership, which you can't do without having a registered vehicle. But he drives out of the dealership, and he's stopped by police. This is back in December, okay? This happened back in December. And he's been trained as to what could happen if he's stopped by the police. He probably had the talk from one of his parents. But the Army has also told him that these things can go on, and so he should behave in a certain way. He should comply with the officers. He should de-escalate the circumstance. He should always keep his hands in a place where they can be seen. In fact, he should be in a lighted place. He's gotten the training. He understands the dynamic, and he understands the risk. So when the lights come on and he's ordered to pull over, he travels slowly for 1 minute to a BP station. He goes there because it's well lighted, less room for misunderstanding or misjudgment about whether or not he's got something in his hands. He pulls in, he rolls down his window, and he puts his empty hands out the window. Oh, by the way, he's got camouflage on, which around Fort Lee means something. He's in the uniform of his country. He puts his hands out and he asks a question to de-escalate. Why are you stopping me? Why? Could you give me the reason? I'm making a rational inquiry. I don't think I've done anything. Why am I being stopped? But the officer in the patrol car is outraged that he would have driven 1 minute further, slowly, into the lighted BP. He is outraged. Rather than de-escalating the situation as he has been trained, and they've all been trained in this, rather than do that, he's forgotten everything. He's forgotten his training. He's forgotten his position of power. And he's running on adrenaline. He immediately unholsters his weapon. Now, that alone, not good. Because officers are trained not to do that. But he doesn't care. He's mad. He's running on emotion. Unholsters. Aims. Aims. You know, they're taught never to wound, but only to fire to kill. So the whole situation's already big. The lieutenant, within his rights, asks again and again, and is pepper sprayed. But this is a brave man, this lieutenant. And he waits to see what happens, and nothing really happens. Nothing. So he files suit, finally. And only when he files suit is one of the officers fired, because the police want to minimize, I think, their liability. But secondly, he hears from the police chief that they owe no apology. The police chief is dumb enough to think that no apology is owed. Wait till they get the bill on this one in Windsor. The lieutenant is alive. Thank God the lieutenant is alive. Pepper sprayed, humiliated, accosted, but alive. Dante Wright isn't alive. No. And I think that Officer Chauvin, who's on trial, is as responsible for Dante Wright not being alive almost as he is for the death of George Floyd. Here's why. I know that young man, Mr. Wright, had the talk. I know he saw all the publicity. I know he saw the videos. It was just 10 miles south of where he lives. He is afraid of being in police custody. He actually pulled over and stopped, and in the interactions with the police, something made him fear that he was not going to get out alive, and he jumped into his car to get away. And a police officer mistook a gun for a taser. Why do we make tasers with handles like guns? And do they really weigh the same amount? And what? How much emotion was in that interaction? Shouldn't people in power have to be accountable for their escalation versus their de-escalation, for their differential use of power? The fact of the matter was the police had been advised not to stop cars with expired plates, which is why they stopped Mr. Wright, because the DMV is so hopelessly behind. Everybody's got expired tags, but they only stopped a young black man. All of that is known to us and known among people of color in our community. And every time it happens again and again, it sends the message of you have no worth and dignity. There is no first principle at work in those circumstances. And we as a community need to see that. People of color and white folks together need to see that. We all should be sharing in an outrage. We all, unfortunately, should be sharing in that little nervous hum that says, will it happen again? That police are let off the hook for what amounts to murder. Are we all feeling the outrage? And are we who have an empowered identity working hard to end that? And I know this is controversial because we want to back good policing. We do. We all want to back good policing. But we don't always see good policing. And it seems we see less of it with people of color. Not to mention the frivolous nature of stops and arrests and frisks and hassles, of the disproportionate number of people of color incarcerated, even pre-trial incarcerated. If you're white, the probability of you being incarcerated pre-trial is so much less than if you're black. And then there's the differential in sentencing and the 3 strikes you're out mandatory sentence. I mean, it is an outrage. But I'm not sure we all seem outraged enough. And I'm wondering why it is that this continues. And I want to ask the one simple thing I think we owe each other in community. Do we all understand? Are we all listening? Are we all striving to empathize with people of color who tell us what a struggle this is for them. That's why I'm preaching today. Because at the time of this recording, no decision has been rendered in the case. The defense is still at it. I don't know what's going to happen between now and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. But I feel obligated to invite us all into that portion of the community that is paying attention and seeing the confrontation that happens between law enforcement and especially Black men, but also Black women. Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor. I want to say that we have to be seeing it and feeling it, because until we all do, then our community values aren't about the inherent worth and dignity of all people. And I know that is what we want our community to stand for. So I have to beg us to take a closer step. I have to ask us to come together more closely as a community in witness to justice and in outrage to injustice. I have to ask us to walk our talk and to understand that there's a different phenomena going on for people of color in our community. I mean, just think about the videos of older Asian women just being knocked to the ground and beaten, and bystanders onlooking and doing nothing. Friends, it cannot be the world in which we can create a beloved community. But to create beloved community, we must begin with solidarity. So I thank all the members of our community who are people of color, who over the years have explained to me why our lack of response has been an outrage to them. I thank all the people of color who have tried to explain why we might not be noticing as they are noticing. And I thank all the people of color who are waiting for us to be in the right portion of the community until we're all in the same community. And that's why I preached this sermon today. That's why I had to preach this sermon today, because I had to have all of us know what I've learned. That there is no way to explain what is happening in so many places where police custody has resulted in the loss of Black lives. It must end, and we must be part of ending it. May it be so.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world to hear. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. Oh, I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea, and then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
Hi everyone, my name is Joe Rupp,
And I'm Kristen Saby.
and we're really grateful for the opportunity to share with you why we pledged to First UU.
One of the biggest reasons we joined First UU was for our kids. We have two daughters, Libby and May, and it's important for us to raise them in a community that explicitly values the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not to mention all of the other values embodied in the UU principles. So the First UU family group and the religious education program our kids have access to through First UU are important ways, in which we expose our kids to these shared values.
It's also, we also value the time that we get to reflect on our own lives and spirituality away from our children, too.
We haven't gotten a lot of that this year. Every now and then, we drive by our church on the way to run an errand or to visit some family. And our kids always will look out the window and point and say, "Hey, there's church." And like so many of you, we are looking forward to being back in the building, seeing everyone face to face and meeting in person with all our friends and family and the small groups that we love so much.
So we think about giving and pledging to First UU in a couple different ways. We are fortunate enough to be able to support different nonprofits and advocacy groups and causes, and we support those causes because they're doing work on our behalf. They work on things that we value in our life, issues that we believe are important to the well-being of our community and to the planet. And giving to church, we give to church for those same reasons, but it's also slightly different. It's different because we are the church. Our donation to First UU is not only supporting the church in all the work that it does in our community, we also understand that our financial contributions underlay our church's collective ability to build a community of physical, spiritual, and social support and love that we all are able to take advantage of. And that's why we pledge, and that's why we take time each year to figure out how we can stretch as generously as possible to support something that's really important to us.
So, as you take some time this year to think about what you can give, one of the things we encourage you to do is to consider the automatic payment program. We've been giving through this program each month for years. We plan for it in our monthly budget and have set up the debit to occur on the same time each month, so we know when it's coming. The thing that's great about the monthly contributions is that it really gives the church security and the ability to forecast its revenue each month. You can't always get that with the one-time contributions. It also oftentimes makes it easier for us as members to just be able to give even a little bit more generously because we can spread out that contribution over time.
All right, well, thank you guys so much in advance for your generosity, and we are so looking forward to seeing you all in person, hopefully very soon.
Very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Good morning again. I'm glad to come to the end of our service and to share with you some ideas about what we can do in the face of a profound injustice that says Black lives don't matter. Black children's lives don't matter. People of color don't matter. We need action, but we need solidarity first. So let me tell you that there's a group of us working to provide a deeper conversation about, first of all, how we're going to return. Joe and Kristen just shared with you their eagerness to return. We all share that. But when we return, we need to return to a place that is welcoming and inclusive to all, safe for all, enlightened a little bit. And so we're doing work now to bring everyone into a conversation that's guided by work that's been done by other people in Unitarian Universalism. Just as we've, over the years, done Living the Pledge, we now want to assess the difference between our community's talk and its actual walk, its ability to enter in beyond the intellect, as Charlene said, into the heart, so that we share and feel as one when the threats of injustice are so evident in front of us, when the outrages come. Now, for us, the frame we're going to use is this, a book called Widening the Circle. If you don't know it yet, it is authored by the Commission on Institutional Change, a commission founded 3 years ago in Unitarian Universalism, when it became evident that there were outrageous acts of supremacy in the heart of our faith. Friends, that still happens. We are creatures of a culture that privileges white bodies and attacks bodies of color, oppresses, is threatened by children of color. And we need to live into the heart so that when we arrive back in person, we have a deeper, more radical consciousness and awareness of how prevalent this is and how it can be prevalent even in us, just like the Richmond Pledge points out. I will confront racism, especially when I find it first in myself. It's no scandal that the culture in which we were raised handicapped our consciousness, and it's not an excuse. In next Friday's First News Weekly, we're seeking to have hundreds of people involved in a deepening conversation that will change the way we come back together, so that as a community, we can speak to and with a sensibility that is shared and alive, and a commitment that transforms our relationship with the whole world.
We need you to read First News Weekly next week. We need you to respond by getting involved. And we need all the groups in the church to consider these questions together. Then, as we learn and grow and come to understand more deeply why some of us have been feeling things so much more threatening than others of us who just watched some news, we come together a step closer to becoming beloved community. And that's what we need. That's what we want. It's the only way we can heal and become whole again. As one of our members said, it's time to reclaim our humanity and all that that implies. I extinguish this chalice, and I call upon all of us to choose not to normalize the killing of children, the threatening of people of color, the arrogance and indifference of standing by while people are being attacked, and the sense of indifference when the law is an outrage. Let us confront this together by stepping in to the conversation deeply so that we can act as one beloved community. Beloveds, I'll see you Friday at First News Weekly.
To all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and will give them garlands instead of ashes, or will build a land where peace is born.